For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. Ho, 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 everybody. And this is the time of the year where you should be gearing up for your staff Christmas party, or you're planning your Christmas getaway, right? Your holiday vacation, and chances are neither of those is really happening this year. So I'm going to tell you some stories about Christmas pasts for me, and also what's really important this year is charitable giving. Candace Cameron Bure has teamed up with the Salvation Army again, and we're going to talk about how you can help make a difference in your community. It all starts on The Scribble right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Jeremy Bradley on The Scribble. So this is normally the time you are doing one of two things. Maybe you're doing two of two things. One being you're getting ready for the dreaded staff Christmas party, or is it called a holiday party? Nevertheless, the big shindig that's supposed to celebrate everybody and, send off into the holiday season. And two, planning your Christmas or your holiday vacation getaway, right? This is about the time you're kind of you're putting the finishing touches. Maybe you're getting your tan on, you're pre-tanning before you go. Well, it looks like neither of those is happening for most people this year. Back in the day, I remember my dad worked at the same company for, 30 years until he retired. We always heard about the Christmas do. It wasn't a party. It wasn't, whatever. It was always the do. It was always the Christmas do. And this was something that my parents looked forward to. Now, again, let's rewind, 30-some years. That's when people stayed at the same job forever until they retired, basically, is what both of my parents did. My mom was at the same school as a teacher for the same, the do. Now I laugh at that and go, who calls it a Christmas do? Fuck. So, but this was something they got dressed up for. That whole work environment has changed over the years. So now let's talk about the Christmas parties that I've gone to. I did work at a company years ago that they went all out. They had like the big celebration. You'd think that it was almost like a wedding. That's how formally people were dressed. And some people really got into it, but for the most part, people didn't really give a shit. And so this was an event that the management would make a big deal about and say, hey, we're celebrating the staff. We're going all out. There's a big dance floor. There wasn't free drinks. You had to buy your drinks, which I think kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But this was a staff of you're having 400 or so guests. Now, keep in mind, this is a company that makes $9 million a week. You'd think they might be able to splurge and give you at least, a couple free drinks. Basically, what ended up happening was managers kind of had drink tickets and would sort of divvy them up to the staff. That's how it worked. And I remember thinking, this is pretty cool. You guys rent out a big room at the convention center. This is top of the line. They were there for the free dinner, for the buffet dinner. And, you had to sit through all the different awards. They gave awards and they patted people on the back. And I mean, this is longer than the Oscars at that point. And yeah, people just didn't give two shits. And it was just so funny because on the surface, if you were on the outside looking in, you're like, oh my God, this is like a big gala. This is a huge event. This is whatever. But then people are sitting there going, I don't want to be here. And half the people wouldn't go. Now, I also remember that there would be an email that would go out from bosses basically saying, hey, you guys, remember to sign up for the party. Hey, remember to RSVP. Hey, remember to do that. Take the hint. People aren't into it. There was a Secret Santa giveaway, like gift giving. And I was part of the marketing group at this time. And again, I had been there for maybe a month and a half, because I started in November. They do the Secret Santa. I was like, yeah, okay, good, that's cool, whatever, fine. And it was the most awkward kind of sit down. It happened in a meeting room. You didn't know who had whom, and just, and I didn't really know these people at the time. They didn't know me, so they didn't know my interest. But then again, when you're doing something like that, maybe you just kind of give a funny gift. Like, I didn't really know. I couldn't read the group very well at that time. I was still very young too. And just to see when people would open the gift, the way they worked it was you opened your gift and then you had to guess who it was from. So I kind of figured maybe it works that if you have an inside joke with the person, then I remember everybody on the team. I don't remember whose name I had though in the Secret Santa. I truly don't remember who I had to buy for, but I do remember the gift that I opened, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, so maybe it is sort of a funny joke kind of thing. And I just had this, weird fake smile. But to me, it was just so uncomfortable, because you could tell these are people that just didn't really like each other, but were doing the giveaway just for the sake of doing a giveaway. Just give me a bonus, just give me cash or something, let me go my own way. Because nowadays, look, if you like the team that you work with, you go for drinks on a regular basis. You hang out after work. But then, I do remember back when I was working at the publishing company with my colleagues, Bonnie and Raylene. Raylene's our accountant for the company now. Bonnie was an editor with me there. And that was a group that just genuinely liked each other. We genuinely got along. We went for lunch almost every day. We would stay late. It wouldn't matter. We would, we'd call each other even on the weekends and talk to each other. So that Christmas party, I remember being probably one of the funniest, because the owner of the company, do we have to go? You're wrapping me up already. Okay, very quickly. So the owner of the company had built a suite on the other side of our office, which was basically kind of like a big warehouse garage kind of thing. Well, he was having a house built, and so he was kind of living in the building for a brief time. So this was perfect, because the staff party happened at night, and it happened basically in our office. So really, Friday after work, which we kind of just pissed around anyway until this was starting, we ordered a shit ton of food to be delivered. He was kind of a drinker anyway, so there was a lot of booze. And we didn't get dressed up. It was just kind of like, hey, let's move from the office to now, again, this was an office where we would drink normally anyway, so it wasn't, a big deal. But in the base, or in the garage area of the building, there was a trampoline for his kids, a basketball net, and all. So, here we are drinking, and then his mom came by, and she's, however old she was, she's got a couple glasses of wine in her, and I'm trampolining, with his mom. And that was probably one of the most fun Christmas celebrations with staff, with colleagues, that I ever remember, just because we genuinely liked each other at that place. We had a good time, and and that was that. And we were able to just kind of go, we stayed well into midnight, 1 o'clock. Now fast forward back to that other one at the convention center, where people were clearing out right after dinner. They were there for the free food, and they left. So if you don't have your staff Christmas party this year, you're either really, really thankful for that, or you're kind of depressed. But you know what? Next year. There's always next year. When we come back, I'm going to talk about travel, which is also something that you're potentially not doing this holiday season.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Got to tell you this funny story, all right? Are you ready for this one? We have done so much travel for our syndicated radio shows over the years, right? Back when people were allowed to go on a plane and different places, we aired travel programming about 3 times a year for spring break, summer vacation, and Christmas vacation. And I was thinking back to some of our different travel destinations that we've done, and we've done Mexico. We've done Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, I would say 5 or 6 times. And one of the trips stands out for me because it was just so ridiculous, was going from Canada in December. I was in Winnipeg, again, still based in Winnipeg at the time, and flew to Las Vegas for the American Country Wars. And then had to go to Mexico because we were taping our travel Christmas programming in Mexico the next day. And I was based in Winnipeg. I had some colleagues based in Los Angeles, but mainly it was a one-person show. This is years after the Canadian thing, and so I went in Canada. Of course, you've got your snow boots, your parka, your scarf, your gloves, And I can't do that. I start to now, right? If I'm getting you get a lift to the airport. So for me, I'll go in shorts and sandals. I don't care if it's December because I'm not going to be outside. You just pray that car doesn't break down and then you're stuck somewhere. But no, when it was like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't going out in shorts. No thanks. So I had to basically pack for 3 different climates or 3 different moments. So winter in Canada. And then I went to the ACAs, the American Country Awards in Las Vegas. Now, the first time being in Vegas, but it's a red carpet event, so you dress it up a little bit. And then, basically, like, literally almost after the awards, I remember my colleagues, we were staying in the same hotel, but my colleagues wanting to get together and go for drinks and everything after the awards show. And I went to one. We were staying in the Hooters Hotel. Is that even still around? It was very nice. My cousin gave it to me as a recommendation, and it honestly was like $30 a night, but still, decent-ish, because I'd learned my lesson, right? I'm going to fly into Vegas. I flew into Vegas the night before. That's right. Flew into Vegas the night before the awards. I got there at like 11 o'clock or midnight. So really what you do is you walk the strip because that's kind of the thing to do in Vegas. And I didn't gamble in any of the casinos that I walked through. I gambled in the one where I was staying because they gave you like free chips or like a free whatever it was if you sign up for their card. So I kind of made it quick, but I walked down the strip because at night with the lights, that's kind of when you do it, and you called it sort of an early night, and then woke up, walked the strip again in daytime, which it looks like a completely different place, quite honestly, and went and had some food. That was when I did gamble a little bit, and then I started prepping for the award show because, again, people don't realize for an award show, you got to be there by like noon. You got to get loaded into, in the red carpet lineup, and then you basically have like an hour to kill. You've got nothing to do. I don't know why they want you there so early. Maybe just because others are coming, and it just becomes a traffic jam. So we do the event. We do the post-production stuff of the editing of the audio and pictures and all that other kind of thing. And then they want to go do the celebratory drinks and everything because, again, we've converged now, the Los Angeles team and me. And I had a drink or so, whatever. And then the airport is kind of right by the strip anyway. And so I was just like, you guys, I got to go. Now, the reason that I had to leave earlier and before them was because I had to tape a segment in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, like early afternoon the next day. And so I left overnight. I left at, let's just say it was 11 o'clock or midnight, whatever it was. I flew, I don't know that it was direct. I think it was to Houston and then, yes, because I remember taking pictures. I flew to Houston and then down to Mexico. And I get there. And I'm welcomed with open arms, literally open arms. I get hugs, when I go there and see the people. And I had about an hour or two. Now, the thing is that the cooking segment that we were taping was at the boutique hotel where I was staying. So it's not like I had to really travel anywhere. But I also didn't remember the currency thing. I didn't realize that I would need to have the Mexican money there. And I didn't know what the conversion was. So when the guy picks me up at the airport and then takes me to this boutique hotel, I basically gave him like a slap in the face is what the tip was. It was, I think I gave him like less than $2. And I was told that after, and I just felt really crummy about it. But anyway, so I get to this boutique hotel, super nice. I love it. I get the grand tour. I'm directionally challenged, so for me, when they show me all these things, I'm kind of like, now how do I get back to my room? I don't really remember where we are. Well, I only had my dress shoes and my big winter shoes from Canada. I didn't have sandals. I didn't have appropriate footwear for being in Mexico for 4 days or however long we were there. Now, I said, we've got a bit of time before we've got to tape this thing. I need to go and buy some sandals somewhere. And we're talking like $4 or $5 flip-flops. Basically, half of a tip for a taxi driver. And, or I guess, that didn't work. Anyway, I'm not a math person. So I asked, where do I go to get some sandals? Now that I've been there many times, and I've been to this boutique hotel several times since then, I know how to get to the beach and everything from there. Well, they said you go to the end of the driveway, and they said there's a Subway, and hang a left. So I got to the end of the driveway, and I hung a left. I didn't hang a left at the Subway, which was to the right. Subway restaurant, I'm talking. And so right at the end of the driveway, literally at the end of the driveway, I started off on a very bad journey. Because again, I was nervous, I was new, I was by myself, and I jokingly said to them even before I left, if I'm not back in a couple hours, because I told them I'm not good with directions. I got to the end of the driveway, I looked and I saw the Subway, and I thought, okay, well, there's Subway, so this must be the end of the driveway. Well, duh. Anybody can figure out it's the end of the driveway. And I should have gone to the Subway and then turned left, and I would have gone straight down to the beach right there. It would have taken me, 5-minute walk, I would have got there. I hung a left at the driveway. Now I'm walking down a highway that was undergoing construction. Now, keeping in mind, I'm wearing my dress shoes and dress pants because I'm not going to wear my shorts and dress shoes, right? Like, that's just ridiculous. That's just stupid. So I just remained overdressed entirely. I'm walking down the side of this highway. Now, again, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where not only is there construction, these people are whipping around the corners. I'm basically on the edge of a cliff is where I'm walking. And these people are flying by, and I was just like, okay, I'm still looking for the stores. I'm still looking how I get down to the beach. Well, and I'm not kidding you. I was walking for about a good half hour, 45 minutes. And again, on the edge of a road. And so they had given me a map at the hotel. And I go into a convenience store finally, and they don't speak English there, and I'm asking where I am. I'm showing them the map, and they're saying no, no, no. Well, the thing is that the map is showing the romantic district, which would have been to the left of the Subway if I'd just followed it. So I had walked out of the range of the map, essentially. So now I figured it out that they're telling me, no, we're not on the map. No, where you are is not on the map is basically the gist of it. And so I finally get to this resort where they've got like the gate down, and I walk up and they're like, are you a guest here? And I said, no, but here, just understand what I'm trying to tell you. I'm lost. I just need a taxi. I just need to get to this part on the map. And so they ended up getting me a taxi that was coming in anyway. And so that was my first kind of thing. So I come back to the hotel. Now I'm late. I've missed the time that we were scheduled to do this cooking thing. And to me, it just seemed odd anyway that we were doing a cooking segment for radio. I didn't quite get that, but whatever. They wanted to. Their restaurant had won these awards and things, so it was kind of a nice thing for us to promote. And so I come back, and the owner of the resort is kind of laughing. He's like, "What, did you get lost?" I'm like, "Yes, I did, actually." And I didn't realize that my team now had arrived, and people were kind of worried and going, "Where are you?" So it actually quickly started a rule that I'm no longer to venture out on my own when we do these travel programs. So there you go. See, there's a story to tell.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
The holiday season is in full swing, and you know what? It's significantly different for many of us. There's so many people in need on any given year. Obviously, this year, people out of work, families are struggling. We've got to focus on giving if we can, and so I thought, who should we talk to? Candace Cameron Bure. She's joining us on the line. Hi, Candace.
Hi.
First of all, thanks for what you do, because I know you've had a great relationship with the Salvation Army, and we're going to talk about all the great work, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Let's talk about your involvement and why you got involved with the organization.
I would love to. I've been a longtime supporter of the Salvation Army. It was one of the charitable organizations that my parents always donated to while I was growing up, and we always participated, whether that was in the Red Kettles at Christmas time or donating things that we didn't need anymore, like clothing or furniture. I mean, they always chose the Salvation Army. But as I got older and started working with them more prominently within the last 3 years, I realized how much the Salvation Army does, because I didn't understand to the extent of the good work that they do all over the country, which is really amazing, and more than feeding people, which needs to be done and is incredible, the amount of meals that they serve daily and on a yearly basis, and providing shelter. But they do so much more in terms of getting people out of their circumstances and giving them the tools that they need to do that, like job training and counseling and emotional care, along with the physical care, and then helping families and providing daycare services and after-school programs for children. There's just so much that they do. I've had the privilege to, just here in Los Angeles, go to several of the different centers that they have to do those things with families specifically, and I'm just amazed at the good work that they do. So I'm so proud to be a part of the Salvation Army and their mission. And as a Christian, I love their mission as well, because they do it all in the name of Jesus Christ. And so with this year, because of the pandemic and people have been hit much harder, and people are not out and about, the Red Kettles are definitely going to suffer this year because people aren't shopping in person as much. And so we're encouraging everyone to go to rescuechristmas.org, and you can make an online donation there. And what's really helpful is to set up a monthly recurring donation as well, because the work that the Salvation Army does, they continue to do long after the holidays, and that's when it often becomes even more rough. And so they count on people like us to continually to donate and serve so that they can continue to help people in their needs.
And I think it's also really encouraging. I mean, you listed a whole bunch of things that the organization does. So many people think of the kettles, you hear the jingle bells, when you're at the mall shopping, and you give, but a lot of times you don't even necessarily know what you're giving to or what that money is for. And so it must be so eye-opening for you to now see, oh, wow, this is where my $5, my $10, my $20 goes. It really does make a difference in the community.
It really does. And that was one thing I didn't know either, was that when you donate, whether that's online or at a Red Kettle, that money stays within your community. And I think that's wonderful. It makes me so pleased to know that wherever I donate, it's staying within that community and I'm helping my neighbors. Or if I'm outside of my community and choose to donate, that money is going to stay there.
And it really does speak to the organization's reputation and history that when you mention the kettle, we get that visual, right? We know it. We see it right now in the mall, and then we hear the bells. So it's great to have that connection, especially with Christmas now.
It is. The Red Kettle is really iconic during the holidays, and that's why, again, it's so important to keep it up, because we are not going to be in person so much. But you can imagine those bells ringing online, and you make a donation online, and we just really encourage that. But I also encourage people to go to the website salvationarmy.us, salvationarmyus.org, because you can also see how you can get involved in your local Salvation Army and see the different facilities and what they do specifically. I just think knowing firsthand, when you see the good work, it not only encourages you to want to contribute more, but it makes you really feel incredible too, knowing that you are helping your neighborhood. But you won't always know that unless you take a deeper dive into it. So I encourage that. Absolutely.
So let's shift gears. Although it's not shifting much, right? Because If I Only Had Christmas, we're still talking about charities, right, in that movie?
Oh, yes, exactly. If I Only Had Christmas is my latest Christmas Hallmark movie that it's still playing all month long on the Hallmark Channel. And, Yeah, I play a publicist who's going to do some pro bono work for an educational organization. And, of course, as all Hallmark movies happen, there's a little romance involved, but some good charitable work that's involved. And this whole movie is it's really an homage to The Wizard of Oz, which is my all-time favorite movie. I've watched it so many times as a child and as an adult, so there's lots of little nods to the movie along the way if you're a fan of it.
Wait a second, there's a romance in this one? Are you giving spoilers, Ken? A Hallmark movie with romance? Come on.
I know, can you believe it?
And we definitely do need more happy stories this year. I mean, everybody has been so gloom and doom, rightly so in some situations, but it's not going to be a terrible Christmas like people are saying. We have to find the good times. We really do.
We absolutely do. And I truly believe that within our own positivity and seeing the glass half full and seeing what's right in front of you and remembering not to take that for granted, but be thankful for it and grateful for it, it's what's going to make our Christmas season still bright, because a lot of us are missing out on friends, and family, and being together, and all the things that come with this time of year. And it can be very easy to get sucked into the gloom and doom of it. But I'm a positive person, and so I always like to keep that spirit alive. And what I'm most looking forward to this Christmas is being with my family, even though it's going to be much smaller this year and the other part will be on Zoom. But I just really want to relish the time that I have with them and be grateful and call out all those things. And I think that will still make the Christmas spirit and the Christmas season that much more meaningful and special.
Absolutely. You know, everybody has family traditions, but I think this is also a good year to maybe start some new traditions.
Yeah, why not?
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of movies, I know you make movies all over the place all the time. I was told that you were shooting in my hometown of Winnipeg several years ago. Is that true?
Yes, I was. I've shot 2 movies in Winnipeg.
What are your thoughts of the city?
I loved it. You know, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I hate to say that I was, but because it's quite cold there. Yeah. And I'm a Southern California girl. I say that because I'm not used to cold weather. Mm-hmm. But it was there are wonderful people there in Winnipeg, and what I was most surprised about was your culinary experiences. I was so impressed with the food there and the restaurants, and I really, really enjoyed it. And the other part, while filming a movie, that was wonderful about Winnipeg is that it is a rather small, big city, and so it made for my travel time very convenient. I like that you could get around that whole city within about 20 or 25 minutes.
Absolutely, but I'm with you for the Southern California thing. You can't beat that, though, too.
Yeah.
I know we got to wrap this up. I know you're always asked about The View, but I have a different question about The View, okay? Can I ask it?
Okay, yes.
Was it fun making that music video? Am I crossing the line? Can I ask that?
Not at all. It took me a second. So, you're talking about the opening intros, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Yes, I guess it was fun. I was by myself. Because I wasn't in New York, so I didn't even do it with the other ladies. I was like on a green screen by myself.
Okay, all right. But it looked like you had a good time.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Let's remind everybody one more time how they can help out this holiday season. RescueChristmas.org was one of the websites you said, and then Salvation Army, right?
Yeah, exactly. RescueChristmas.org, and that goes right to the Red Kettle campaign. And you can find even more information at SalvationArmyUS.org.
All right. Well, Candace Cameron Bure, thank you so much for joining us today. Merry Christmas to you and your family. It was great chatting with you.
You're so welcome, and thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you.
All right. Take care.
You too.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
And we are out of time. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Thanks so much for tuning in. Live at jbonair.com is my email address. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat,